Hello everyone, Buzzkiller here, and welcome back to the channel. It's been over a month since my last video, so I figured it was about time to give you guys an update and let you know what's going on with the channel and Star Citizen. So, let's get started. If you follow me on Twitter, then you know that after 20 years of service, I finally retired from the US Army. And since my retirement check won't be quite enough to live on, I've been searching for a new career. Now, being unemployed, you'd think that I'd have plenty of time on my hands and that I should be making tons of videos, but unfortunately, that's not the case. You see, jobs in my primary field are hard to come by right now, at least if I want to stay local, and I really don't want to move. When I'm not making videos or playing video games, I'm working with my motorcycle association to help homeless and impoverished veterans in my community. In doing so, I've made a lot of friends and connections that I just don't want to walk away from if I don't have to. So I've been doing a lot of networking and resume rewriting in order to find just that perfect job that allows me to do what I love and not have to move. Now, I have a few leads that I'm hoping will pan out, but I have to keep on top of them, and I have to keep searching for more in case those don't pan out. So my time is kind of at a premium right now. In the meantime, expect my video content to be a little bit less frequent. But enough about me, let's talk about Star Citizen. In the past month, there's been tons of great Star Citizen news coming from CIG. The majority of it has to do with the upcoming Alpha 2.5 release, but there have been some other cool nuggets of info that have been released as well. The ATV 100 episode celebration was a huge source of a lot of that news. The celebration was broken up into a 4-part series that covered the offices in Los Angeles, Manchester, Austin, and Frankfurt. The series was shot in a more streamlined format that shows as much as it tells, giving ATV a much needed facelift. So expect future episodes of ATV to continue to follow this format and to continue to be hosted in different offices each week. The first episode featured CIG LA. In it, we saw the new ship entry and exit animations. The old animations were designed for the original hangar module and emphasized showing off the ship. They were also very slow and tedious. The new animations have a gameplay focus and speed up the process of getting into and out of your ships, reducing time spent with the character outside of your control. We also got our first look at the female character model, which many backers have been asking for a very long time. In another segment, we got our most in-depth look yet of the Drake Caterpillar. The ship is really coming along well, and I'd expect it to be released as early as 2.6 or 2.7. And finally, Chris Roberts took time out of his busy schedule to give us a full tour of the LA office. After all this time, it looks like they finally finished construction and are settling in nicely. The office looks great, and I wouldn't mind working there myself. Well, maybe I should submit my resume. Episode 2 featured Foundry 42 in the UK and was probably the best in the series when it comes to new content. Aaron Roberts started us off with a tour of the ever-expanding UK office, and they're currently occupying 3 floors in their building and still growing. During the tour, some sharp-eyed viewers got a glimpse of a whiteboard that gave us an inside look into the current ship pipeline. This included some ships that had not been announced to the public, but I don't do spoilers on this channel, so you'll have to look elsewhere for that. We also got a sneak peek of Grim Hex, which is a pirate station that'll be included in the Alpha 2.5 release. This station will be a place where outlaws can spawn without having to worry about harassment from Crusader security. In its initial release, the station will include a new clothing shop with unique items and a weapons shop that specializes in energy weapons and outlaw armor. Port Olisar will now carry only ballistic weapons, UEE armor, and the flight suits. In another segment, Zane Bien gave us a look at the Moby Glass update he's been working on, as well as some concept shots of the in-game star map. But the biggest reveal of the episode was a reworked Bengal carrier. This massive vessel was the very first ship we saw in the initial Kickstarter preview of Squadron 42, and it has come a long way since then. The ship has a hangar with the same interior volume as an entire Idris frigate, as well as a gun turret of about the same scale. The developers say that the ship is so big, it takes up the same space as up to 3 to 4 battlefield maps, and it looks absolutely amazing. I can't wait to see how they're going to render that entire ship in-game though. Part 3 of the series featured CIG in Austin. It started off with a short but funny Big Benny's commercial created by none other than Fiendish Feather. He's the brainchild behind the Imagine trailer and the Bulkheads show. After a brief intro, we got a tour of the ATX office hosted by John Erskine. The Austin office was, of course, the original CIG headquarters until they branched out into LA. Now, they must have learned their lesson from the UK tour because there weren't any spoilers on the whiteboards this time. After the tour, Mike Pickett gave us some insight into the new patching system, which aims to reduce the size of each patch by having us download only the data that is changed. This is very important not only to us, the backers, but internally as well, since many of the developers download 2 to 3 builds each day. This requires a huge amount of bandwidth, and let's just say I wouldn't want CIG's internet bill. Next up, we got another quick look at Grim Hex. This episode featured the clothing shop and some of the new clothing we can expect to purchase there. After that, they showed us some of the ongoing work they're doing on the Drake Herald. The interior looks to be about 85% complete, but the exterior still seems to need a lot of texture work, so I doubt we'll be seeing it in the game for at least another 3, maybe 4 months. The highlight of the episode was a Q&A session with none other than Tony Zurovec. In it, he talked about the Levski landing zone and how it will be implemented within a procedurally generated asteroid/planetoid. He touched on the subsumption, which is the system that dictates NPC AI based on the character's role, environment, and personality. He also spoke about the first player occupations that we'll be seeing in the upcoming releases. Cargo transport will be the first occupation we see, followed closely by piracy and smuggling. He also talks about how pirates will have the option to take over ships or destroy them and sift through the debris for any surviving loot. The last of the initial occupations will likely be the mercenary, who will be able to take on jobs to protect those convoys or hunt down notorious pirates. Now, this is the occupation I'm most excited for, so I'm kind of glad that it'll be among the first ones released. Part 4 was the final episode in the series and came to us from Foundry 42 in Frankfurt, Germany. The episode was hosted by Todd Pappy and Brian Chambers and started off with a standard tour of the Frankfurt office. Once that was done, we got a look at some of the new weapons they've been working on there. These included reworks of the Bearing laser cannons, as well as a new FPS submachine gun, also by Bearing. After that, Caleb gave us a look at one of the explosion VFX the team has been working on, along with some of the new animation blending technology that they're using to bring effects like this to life. Last Thursday, ATV kicked off Season 3, and we were back in the LA office. The big news of this episode was the atmospheric flight model they've been working on. They talked about how aerodynamic ships will have a distinct advantage in the atmosphere over non-aerodynamic ships. Drag and atmospheric density will all play roles in how your ship performs in atmosphere. Now, they aren't using a full simulation for lift, but I'm guessing gravity might have some effect as well. But that's just my personal conjecture. Another interesting segment talked about the new male character model. Since they've finished work on the female model, they wanted to bring the male base model up to the same standard. I can't wait to see how both look and perform in-game. In this week's Ship Shape, we got a look at the version of the Reliant core that would be flying once 2.5 is released. The ship, as always, looks great, and it uses the new landing system to convert from its horizontal to vertical configurations. Other ships like the Xi'an Scout that have multiple modes will take advantage of the same system. In the final segment, we got an even more in-depth look at some of the new clothing that'll be available for purchase on the Grim Hex station. And that pretty much catches us up on the official news. If you follow the Issue Council on the RSI website, however, then you already know that Alpha 2.5 is in the hands of the Evocati test force. The ETF, also lovingly known as the Avocados, is a small subset of the backer community that has shown exceptional ability in testing the game and reporting their findings on the issue council. Though they are the first wave of backers to get crack at the latest Star Citizen builds, the Evocati is not for the faint of heart. The builds they test are in their most raw and unstable state and are typically chock full of frustrating and sometimes even game-breaking bugs. Now, I am a member of the Evocati, but since we've all signed a non-disclosure agreement, I can't really go into any detail other than to say that testing is going well, and 2.5 should be going to the public test universe soon. TM. And that's it for the news. But before I sign off, I'd like to leave you with one more channel update. As I said before, expect content to be a little less frequent until I'm able to lock down a new job. And even then, I really don't know what my new work schedule will be like. Starting today, I'll start monetizing my videos and using what little revenue I gain to help keep the channel running. Obviously, once Star Citizen Alpha 2.5 has gone public, I'll be doing a series of videos covering that as well. And that'll include a flight test and review of the MISC Reliant. During the final review, I promised to give away my Reliant core, and I'll honor that promise by taking entries in the comments of the initial test flight video. I'll then announce the winner at the end of the final ship review, so stay tuned for those videos as well. Another video I'd like to do is an initial impressions of No Man's Sky once it's been released to PC on the 12th. Now this is a game I've been extremely excited to play for a very, very long time. Now, some of you might have heard that there is a person out there who paid $1,300 for an advanced copy of the game on eBay. And yes, I've watched his videos, but I'm not going to mention any of the spoilers here. Instead, I'll leave a link in the description of this video so you can decide for yourself if you want to watch them. I will say that the videos and his subsequent Reddit post has made me both more excited to play the game and a little apprehensive as well. I'm seriously hoping that some of the quote-unquote features he's found are for development purposes only and will be removed in the final release of the game. With all that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video. If so, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for any future content. You can also follow me on Twitter. If you're interested in backing Star Citizen, follow the link in the description of this video to get 5,000 free in-game credits. If you purchase a package, it'll help me earn in-game rewards that I can then use to improve my video content. Until next time, this has been Buzzkiller, and I'll see you in the verse.